Do you ever feel like a worn down cog in a machine? I've been there, weeks where everything blurs together with deadlines and meetings and commutes. It's easy to lose touch with who you really are when you're feeling drained like that. But this past week brought me back to myself. I felt a sense of wholeness, like I was able to be my authentic self while sharing my creative work with the world. I had my first market in a while, the first one since releasing my latest collection, and then that same night I played a gig with my rock and roll band, and it just felt like this beautiful full circle moment, realizing that I've built these creative spaces in my life and that I'm more than just someone stuck in the grind. I started my market prep by finishing a batch of porcelain chain necklaces that I'd made last year. I never got around to completely finishing them, but when I built these chains out of clay, I punched little holes in the end links so that I could later attach them to gold-filled chains. I do that using head pins, so I slip a pin through the hole and I make a little loop and then I secure it to the gold-filled chain. These are similar to some designs that I'm working on for my fall collection too, which will be a little rounder and chunkier, but I just can't get enough of porcelain chain necklaces. Next, I worked on assembling my porcelain bar earrings. These are some of my favorite designs and also some of the first designs that I ever made when I first started making porcelain jewelry. They're simple but beautiful and they go with just about anything. I've made them in a variety of glazes over time. Some of them have little polka dot patterns on the top, which is pretty fun too. So each pair feels a little different and special. And I finish by attaching them to little gold-filled hooks and then placing them on earring cards so that they're ready for the market and to be put out on display. I got up bright and early the morning of the market to start packing everything up and grabbing it out of my kiln shed. In retrospect, I wish I had done this the night before, but the days are getting shorter here, and to be honest, I ran out of daylight. I figured, I'll just wake up and do it bright and early, but I definitely regretted that because by the time I left the house, I was already a bit exhausted. So I grabbed my folding table and my tent, and then all of my little totes that I keep stored in my kiln shed. That shed has become my spot to keep everything together and out of the way between shows. It's actually one thing that helps me stay organized, having the bins ready with almost everything I need. So I have my tablecloth, my jewelry stands, my scissors, tape, and all the little small supplies that make my markets run smoother. So once I finally loaded everything up in the car, I was ready to head out and head to my market. The market that I was vending at was called Harvest Fest, and it was a little bit south of where I live, run by a place called Harvest Moon Tattoo. And it turned out to be such a beautiful day, sunny out with blue skies, and had kind of that early fall weather that feels crisp without being too chilly. I was flying solo, which always makes me a little nervous, especially with an easy up tent. Luckily, a couple kind people at the event helped me out with that tent, which saved me a lot of stress. But even so, I still felt that familiar wave of overwhelm at first. My ADHD brain was spinning a little bit because I found myself in sensory overload, not really knowing where to start with my setup. But once I slowed down and just took it step by step, I eventually found my rhythm. So I set my table up first with the tablecloth and then began setting up all of the displays. I kept my setup pretty simple since it was just me running the booth, so just one table so that I could manage it easily. My earring stands went up and my necklace forms, and when I finally had everything out, I paused for a second. At home, my jewelry is always kind of tucked away in bins and drawers to keep it organized, so seeing it out on a table all together in the sunlight was so rewarding, and it just reminded me why I love doing this. Each piece has its own little story, but together they feel like a snapshot into my creative soul. I've been really focused on making jewelry these past couple of years, so that was definitely the focus of my booth. But I did bring some pottery along too. I had some mugs and planters that I'd made a while back, so it felt nice to get those out into the world too, and share that other side of what I do with wheel throwing too. My good friend stopped by during the market, and it was so fun to have her there. We got to catch up a little in between conversations with people that were stopping by the booth, and it made the whole day feel even more fun. That's what I love about markets. They're really about connection. People stop by, they pick something up, they ask about how it's made. Sometimes they'll tell me about a piece that's really standing out to them. Other times it's about gifting and wanting a piece that feels personal or meaningful for someone they care about. And sometimes we'll just discover we have common ground, and it's just really fun getting to know people out in the community. Those conversations might be quick, but they're moments that really stay with me. They turn all of the early mornings and the packing and the hauling into something that feels really worthwhile. By the end of the market, I had met some really wonderful people and sent some lovely special pieces home with them. Knowing that something I created in my studio is now out in the world, being worn or being used, and ultimately becoming part of someone else's life is something that I never take for granted. After the market wrapped up, my day wasn't over. I headed straight over to a nearby brewery to play a show with my band that night. It was part of the same event. It was the after party for the market that day, and just another way to share something creative in my life. I've been playing in this band since I was a teenager with two of my very close friends. So as a music lover, it's definitely one of the most fun and meaningful parts of my life. You know, getting to make music with people I love and put that energy out into the world and make someone's night a little bit better. There was dancing, beers were had, and at one point I just kind of looked around and felt this wave of recognition, like, this is my life. This is me being fully in tune with my authentic self. My creative energy matters here, whether it's through jewelry in the morning and sharing that with people at the market, or playing music to people dancing at night. And I think that's the reminder I want to leave you with is it's so easy to get bogged down by life's demands and to feel like a cog in the machine, but carving out space for your passions, whether it's art or music or writing, whatever that looks like for you, it matters. And honestly, the world needs it, because when things feel really heavy in the world, these little moments of creativity and connection are what truly make a difference.